Hello YouTube, my name is Jeff, and I'd like to get back into showing purchases that I've made recently.
Yeah.
I collect a lot of horror VHS tapes, right? And comic books, things like that. Huge Star Wars fan. And yeah, recently I went to Savers here in Tucson, where I found some cool stuff, getting back into reading my Stephen King. Actually, in the background here,
What the hell?
watching Battlestar Galactica, the Young Lords. Got that. I don't know, it's like a bucket tape. Not too bad. I don't know if you have Savers where you guys are at. I've been looking for this book for a while. Something cheap, you know. Been wanting to read Stephen King again. I love. I just started reading the version of. Showing the corn in here, way different than the movie. The setting, the couple are fighting way more. Short story really just kind of dives right into getting into Gatlin and the kids, and they already kind of figure out the kids responsible for why there isn't any adults around. The movie, I think, I need to see if Stephen King adapted that for the film, because I almost like the script better than I'm reading in the short story, which is. It's cool to learn how its origins are. I know it has Quitters Incorporated in this book from the Cat's Eye anthology movie. So yeah, just reading some Stephen King again. Found this other cool book here. It's the Great Illustrated Classics Dracula Bram Stoker. It's got really cool illustrations in here. I think the story is abridged, so I don't think it has complete story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like this book too, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I like the Batman book, Dad. The Batman.
So another Stephen King book that I've never read, always wanted to. Love the movie, of course, and I know Stephen King likes to throw in more raunch and more horror aspect to it, like with the book It, and how the made-for-TV movie was nothing like the book. The book was pretty gnarly, and I hope the remake coming out here pretty soon is going to be very similar. So excited to read that. First printing. I love old books, and they just got this old grime stains to it. I love it. And when I was there, there's a dude that works there putting away videos. We're talking about horror movies quite a bit. Brought this up to my attention. Some Dracula, the film and the legend. So, illustrated book, and right now I know that I'm using my camera phone, so this is kind of quirky, not easy to set up. The camera on my webcam audio sounds pretty crappy, so I'm trying this out here. I think it's going to be easier to load, so yeah. Dracula, man. Let's get into some more VHS finds. Got quite a few. We got Lake Placid. I've bought this on VHS before. Somewhere, I don't know what happened. We had some recent water damage to the house, so it's very possible this got damaged. No big deal. Cheap movie, $1. I like it. I like the first Lake Placid. Being the summertime, it's perfect for creatures from the Black Lagoon type attacks. Sharks and killer crocodiles and things like that. And so we got next... Oh yeah, we got Alfred Hitchcock's, one of my favorite from Alfred Hitchcock is Vertigo. Not a horror movie, but still, you gotta collect the classic directors, and this movie is awesome. You know, what can you say about Hitchcock? You know, The Birds, what else? Psycho, right? I just got this on a whim because I love this show, and they had a bunch of volumes of the show itself. I've had this in DVD form lots of times. This is the best of Dark Shadows, and it's only 30 minutes long, so I'm assuming just a bunch of clips. But yeah, you know, Dark Shadows. It's kind of cool anthology. Probably just put it on the background and doing artwork and things like that, because they also work on comic books and a lot of horror illustrations. Gonna get back into oil painting again, so yeah, things to have in the background. And Dolph Lundgren, I had this Red Scorpion. I don't think I've ever seen it. I like cheesy 80s action movies. Restricted R. Anchor Bay version. So it's got this cool... I noticed when I first took it out, that's classic Anchor Bay. Usually they come in clamshells with a little bit more description. This one is regular slipcase. Just an awesome cover. You know, I really liked him as a He-Man in the Masters of the Universe movie. Hopefully the remake's going to be out pretty soon. I don't know if it's a remake or just its own story.
Daddy,
And
Dad, I walked in the room.
now, you've never seen this before? I like the cover and The Uninvited. I think it's got to be like a ghost story. Which just says, quite possibly the movie's best ghost story. It's got like seance picture here going in the background. I love classic ghost stories. 13 Ghosts was based on one. I'm drawing blanks on that one, but yeah, classic type. Who's in this one? Ray Milan. It looks like Patrick Stewart, sort of it, and it's not. This one definitely can't go wrong with the Lost Boys. I'm sure I've had this in VHS form again, maybe one of the ones I lost recently. When they're so cheap, when I just see these out in the wild, just kind of pick them up because you can never have enough copies. They tell me they don't last long. You don't know how it works, so just to have it, in the collection, multiple copies. Love this movie. Lost Boys, Fright Night, awesome 80s vampire movies. Next we got Sleepy Hollow. I miss Tim Burton. 90s Tim Burton, 80s Tim Burton. Awesome. 2000, not so much anymore. Not really big on his movies anymore. Sorry to say, but he's done a lot of movies. How much can one hand make that's going to be brilliant every time, Not to forgive him for it, just means that this is probably the end of what I really liked, other than Willy Wonka was pretty cool. Dark Shadows was horrid. Even though I know it was kind of its own entity, it just didn't care for it. Forgettable. But yeah, I saw this one opening day, and it came out in the movie theater twice, actually. Back in '99. That was still in college. I think it was about a sophomore, junior at the U of A. Loving Tim Burton and creepy movies. Alright, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Saw this when it came out, too, in the theater when it first came out. Had a poster book that I got from McFrugal's or Ben Franklin, some craft store my mom would take me to, and I had a bunch of posters from this movie, and I'd put them on the wall and things like that. Part 2 and 3 are, for me, they're not the best. This one I can watch this on repeat without any qualms about it. Box is pretty beat up, but it's cool. I like that used look. It's original. Not much more to say about Ninja Turtles. The most recent one that came out. I'm not digging these. I guess you call them remakes or reimaginings, man. Like Transformers. Give me the cartoon from the '80s. I don't care for the movies. They're cool, but it's just not my cup of tea, man. And you got Ghosts on the Loose. Never heard of this, but this is what I'm talking about. I love old movies about the supernatural, the black and white where it seems natural, not like an art house type movie. This one's got Bela Lugosi in it. Ava Gardner, the East Side Kids. Never seen it, but it'd be cool to check out. And this one I've seen in bargain bins many, many times. Bats. The cover's pretty cool. It's kind of got a little risen cover to it. Holding upside down. Couldn't tell because it's upside down anyways. Lou Diamond Phillips, was it the first Power he did? That satanic type movie from early 90s, late 80s, right? He was doing, I don't know if this is the only other horror movie he has done. Non-stop, high-flying, action-packed Scream Ride. Never seen it, but it's cool to check out. Dina Meyer, some other people. Let's see what else we got here. I picked this one strictly for the cover. Never heard of it. Don't even know if I'm going to watch it. I might. I think it's rated R, so It's gotta be good. It's gotta have some type of violence in it and some crazy action. I love the cover. I don't know if you can see it too well. It's ooh, innocuous. You're gonna get innocuous, man. Who the hell's in this thing? It's a Rodney McDonald film. It's got Richard Norton, Hans Haynes Janik. I have never heard of this movie. I'm sure there's a reason why, but very cool cover. I love it. Let's see what else we got here. This one, I can honestly say I've only seen it in the theater when it first came out. At the time, I thought it was cool. I'm not really much into the, it's not like really slasher movie anymore. It's more like serial killer. I'm kind of getting away from the crazy extreme gore. I'm more just like old slasher movies, like Freddy and Jason. I'm taking them down pretty big. I used to watch a lot of Vultra VHS tapes, a lot of underground movies like from James Bell, but Toe Tag Productions. Just can't hang with it anymore, man. I just think having kids and getting older, I'm still liking horror. I took a break for a while, but yeah, I don't want it to be too mean-spirited. I want it to be too close to reality. I think the worst mistake I've ever had made with the movie is watch the Serbian film, and I just feel ashamed even watching that, man. It's just things like that I don't feel are really necessary. I don't see much art in it. So I'm going to give this one another try. It's got a lot of good actors. I mean, William Dafoe, Christian Bale, Reese Witherspoon, she's alright. Who's in here? Jared Leto, I think it's pretty cool. I used to be a huge fan of Jared Leto and My So-Called Life. When I was a teenage years, I grew up in that era, man. I grew up in the grunge era as a teenager, so I can make sense of it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's funny to say I've only seen this movie once in the theater when it first came out, and every time it's ever been on, I never watched it. I think just maybe because it seemed mean-spirited, and those kind of movies I try to stay away from as much as I can. And I think the last one here is the Mothman Prophecy. Cool conspiracy, folklore, urban legend type movie, right? With Richard Gere. How long is it? It's 119 minutes long, so it's almost too much for me to be able to pay much attention to. But yeah, another movie to check out. I'm pretty excited to see this back in the day. I like this Blockbuster tapes you can find, a previewed movie. Remember they were $12.99. You pay that price for a used VHS. I mean, if I pay $12.99 for VHS nowadays, it better be some out of print, pretty freaking cool ass movie. So that is all my pickups for now. Kids are in trouble. I gotta go.